You're listening to the Word of Mouth Marketing Podcast by Best Company. It's growth done right.
Hey, today we're talking to Ruben Ugarte from ActiveProspect, lead gen expert and customer acquisition tech guru. He's going to talk to us about all kinds of things like how to lower our CAC, improving the culture between sales and marketing with all the finger pointing, and getting hyper local with our marketing. Stick around at the end when I distill his insights into 3 concrete action items you can take to grow your business right now. So give your brain a nice deep tissue massage because it's about to get smarter and better at marketing. Let's jump right in. Hey, I'm Todd. Welcome to the Word of Mouth Marketing Podcast by Best Company. Our goal here is really simple. We want to connect you with thought leaders, and then those thought leaders are going to leave you with concrete tips and strategies that you can apply right now to grow your business. And today we've got the opportunity to talk to someone who's good at just that, and that's Ruben Ugarte. Ruben, how you doing?
I'm doing awesome.
Great. Where are you coming from? Are you coming from LA?
Yeah, you know what? I'm about an hour east of Los Angeles in a city called Rancho Cucamonga, which is like a suburb about an hour east of Los Angeles.
Before we get going, I've just got to say, okay, you got a lot of cool stuff going on behind you there. Yeah. Walk us through just a little bit. Before I even introduce you, I want to know what's going on because you got all kinds of exciting stuff.
Yeah, so this is an office. I run a work share space with a couple of other kind of tech, software-focused folks here. But you know, we do a lot of events here at ActiveProspect. So these are kind of some of the collateral for some of the mixers or dinners that we've done. Little Banksy-esque thing going. I love leads, kind of like a branded shirt that we put out. All the conferences, anyone who kind of follows me on LinkedIn or knows me knows I go to all the conferences, as many as I can go to. And then, my wonderful son, Joaquin, and a little statement to remind me that prospects don't waste your time, you waste theirs. So yeah, just kind of a little fun kind of background.
Let's get to know you a little bit. I know that you're a CAC guru. I mean, essentially, you help people with customer acquisition tech and lead generation. Yeah. But before we get into that, help us get to know you personally even a little bit more. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Ruben.
Yeah. So, one, just appreciate you having me on the show, Best Company. You know, obviously you guys are a client. You know, I purchase leads from Best Company in, my buyer days. But essentially I'm the director of home services here at ActiveProspect. ActiveProspect is a software SaaS brand based out of Austin, Texas. We focus on lead management, compliance, and intelligent routing. Prior to coming on board here and selling home service brands and working with brands, I was a client of ActiveProspect. I spent about 5-6 years working at a large residential solar company. I used to run their call center and lead purchasing division. We ended up selling that company to private equity several times, once in 2016 and again in 2019. But ActiveProspect was the technology layer that I used to grow that brand to over 150 million, when we sold. Prior to that, I sold residential and small commercial solar, and this is like back in the day, like 2010, 2014 time. And then prior to that, my family owns a roofing company in the Burbank, Pasadena region here in Southern California. So I've sold roofing, I've sold insulation, I've sold gutters, I've fallen off of a roof. So I understand the complexities of construction. But yeah, that's kind of have a family background and some construction roots. Got into kind of lead gen, call center marketing for a really large, actually quite small residential solar company that grew from 30, 40 installs to 500 installs in a very quick time. So, have experience and scale. And then now, working for ActiveProspect, I get to partner with all these awesome brands all over the US and get to kind of look under the hood of what they're doing with their lead gen, their marketing, and their technology stack.
Tell us a little bit more. Tell us a little bit about ActiveProspect. Who's your ideal client? What kinds of problems are you solving?
Yeah. So once again, it's a SaaS-based brand. We're considered a middleware, right? So we're a protective layer that sits in front of a CRM. We capture leads from any source, whether it's from a your own website, Facebook lead ads, Google, Yelp, or third-party lead providers. On our platform, you can create custom filters. You can rejection criteria. You can do a bunch of programmatic optimization with filtering. You can get compliance, and then ultimately you can route to any system or endpoint. In the home service space, more and more brands are wanting to not just route a lead into their CRM, but they're wanting to route it to an SMS provider, an email provider, a SQL database. I mean, there's all these types of places they want that lead to go, and it all needs to be done in real time. So we help support that. In terms of the industries we serve, or kind of our ideal customer, anyone between 1,000 to 2,000 leads who is actively purchasing leads in whether it's home services, financial services, insurance, but we really serve marketing teams or lead managers or CMOs or brands in general that are either producing or purchasing leads at a high clip. We work with home service brands that buy 100,000 leads a month plus, all the way down to folks who, are 5 to 10 million brands that are in the 1,000 to 2,000 range.
That's fantastic. And as you alluded to, I mean, we're one of your customers. And so we can really vouch for the work that you do, both on the lead gen side and in some of our referral space. You help us out all the time as kind of that middleware. So help us understand a little bit about what sets you apart, Ruben.
Yeah. So, we're unique in the space because we encompass lead management and compliance and routing. There's a lot of different tools that kind of do lead management or routing or compliance, but not lead management or routing. We're the only brand out there that does all three collectively together. And as you know, and a lot of the listeners know, nobody wants to have a massive tech stack, right, with things kind of talking and integrating. But in this day and age, you kind of have to. So we've provided a platform that allows you to intake leads, manage them accordingly, get compliance, and be able to route them to your dialer or your call center or your CRM, database. Along with that, inside of our technology, we have this kind of marketplace that has all these various APIs that are data services. You can do phone verification, email validation. A lot of home service brands like to get title on a property or square footage. And I think that's what really sets us apart. I really believe, especially in this day and age, a lot of home service brands have, gotten a CRM. So we kind of got through the wave of CRM adoption. And now a lot of brands are realizing like, hey, I can't just dump all my data into my CRM. Like I got to have other things to help filter, optimize, improve quality, negate or silo. So there's data is king right now, right? So the ability to take in data and optimize it, that's really what sets us apart and why I think a lot of home service brands have gravitated towards our brand.
Now I want to pivot a little bit, and I really want to pick your brain here for a minute. So if somebody wants to improve their digital marketing or their customer acquisition right now, what do you recommend?
Yeah. So we work with a lot of different brands, national brands like, ADT or a DeBella or Momentum Solar, all the way down to, kind of smaller RBA dealer or Bath Planet dealer. And you see a lot of teams that are huge, right? When they have the resources and they have, CMO, marketing VP, marketing director, and all these kind of people. And then sometimes you just have brands who are like, it's one person who got promoted from the call center. Now they're buying the leads and they're trying to figure it out and everything in between. My suggestion, first and foremost is invest in your people, in a person, empower a person, and give them the ability to kind of market. And then second, I'm all about hyperlocal, right? My family owns a business in, the Burbank region, and my uncle and family are all about supporting church activities, local school programs, after school programs, and being really visible in your community, in your area, and within your zip. I feel if you can be hyper local in your community and not just, engaging with organizations in your community, but, your Yelp profile, right? Your Google profile, right? Like your best company profile. All these review sites are, I think, the core to kind of getting started. You got to own your zip code. If you can't own your zip, if you can't own your immediate city or area, it's going to be real tough to market to people that are outside, right? Number two, I think the end side, third party lead generation, the ability to buy leads from partners like Best Company and others that are in the space, the ability to generate your own leads on Facebook lead ads or Google ads, or TikTok is now a major channel. Being able to target locally and then kind of grow and expand from there. I think that's the best formula that I've seen. I feel like a lot of brands get into lead gen and they start with third party, and then they're like, well, try to sprinkle first party, or they're all about first party, but they just disregard third party. I think there's a balance there to be had. And if you can find a marketing director or somebody who has experience in both sides, I think you can get off to a fast and efficient start.
Own your own turf and then expand from there. I love
Absolutely.
that. You've given us some good stuff here. If somebody were to catch you in the hall and corner you and say, "Hey, Ruben, you've been at this for a long time. What's one thing I can do?" What would you tell them?
I would say that, kind of similar to my previous kind of answer, in empowering your marketing team to have a culture of success, I think is huge. Um, for whatever reason, especially in home services, and I'm sure this is in other verticals, there always seems to be this like wall or kind of finger pointing between marketing and sales. So like if you're not getting sales, the sales team is like, it's the marketing team's fault. And if you're not getting sales, the marketing team's like, oh, it's the sales team's fault. They're not closing deals. And it's kind of all this like kind of friction that can really hurt an organization or a brand. So I think the biggest thing that I've seen from brands who are just, they're humming, like they're going, like they deal with it, is the ability for the path forward to be led by data, the right KPIs, the ability for marketing and sales teams to kind of work hand in hand in sequence with each other, the ability for sales teams and marketing teams to be accountable collectively and not siloed. I really feel like that's a key ingredient in doing great marketing, because you're generating these leads, you're bringing in consumers, you're bringing in eyeballs, um, and regardless if it's a home service product or whatnot, the ability for your sales and marketing team just to have a culture of transparency and success, I think that by far is one of the most important things that I've seen out there.
I love that. Building that bridge between those two departments and getting them on the same page is with their KPIs and helping them work together.
Yeah,
That's so critical. I mean, you and I have seen all the memes online
huge.
where it's sales and marketing and they're all pointing at each other,
It's
when there's a
huge.
problem, and then they're pointing at themselves when there's, any kind of a lead or any
Yeah.
kind of growth.
Yeah, I would just also add to that a lot of brands look back at the end of the month on their cost of acquisition and try to make decisions moving forward. That's pretty common. I've been part of brands that have done that. And the brands who are really, you know, optimizing, consistently lowering cost of acquisition, dude, they're doing this on the daily. They got daily KPIs, they got daily reports, and they are not waiting till the 15th or the end of the month to make a pivot. They're doing it in hour, in day. If something's not, if they're spending money somewhere and it's not coming and they're not seeing the conversions, they're making alterations, they're making pivots, and they're making changes in real time. And I think that is huge. Reporting is a big, um, is a big issue for a lot of home service brands. So the more reporting and KPIs that you can have that are shareable across multi departments, I think the better off the brand will be.
I love that. So if I wanted to do one thing tomorrow in order to start building that bridge and establishing these KPIs and to bring these two teams together, what would I do tomorrow to make this happen?
You know what? I would have combined goals between marketing and sales. I would bring teams together and have them share time. I'd have both teams educated on the lingo of the different departments. Sometimes marketing kind of has their acronyms or analogies and sales, and kind of they don't understand each other. But I think getting everybody together, getting both teams to understand what each team is doing, and having accountability and transparency, I think is huge. And it could be as simple as holding meetings together. Be surprised how many brands don't get their marketing or sales teams together. And if they do, it's like when something's hit the fan already and not like on a positive note. So I would say just getting those teams together and getting synergy between those two departments is something that I see as all the top performing brands do.
That's great, Ruben. We brought you in hoping that we could get some, get 2 or 3 tips, and you gave us, 8 or 9. So that's fantastic. I love it. If people want to get a hold of you and they want to learn more and have you help them out, what's the best way for them to reach you?
You know what? I just released my own branded website, so you can find me at Ruben, Ruben Ugarte, Ugarte.io. So RubenUgarte.io. You can go to the ActiveProspect.com website, and you can always reach me at my email, Ruben@ActiveProspect.com. I really enjoy helping home service brands. I really enjoy helping lead generation partners like Best Company, and I'm in home services for the long haul here. So I'm excited to have the opportunity to be here on your podcast.
Oh, I love it. When I was talking to our CEO this morning and I said, I've got Ruben on the podcast today, he said, you be nice to him. We love that guy. That guy's really important to us. So seriously, awesome. Reach out to Ruben if you need some help with your customer acquisition tech. And so Ruben, thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah, appreciate it, Todd. Thank you and the Best Company team. We love what you guys are doing. Thank you so much.
Now let's take what he said and distill it to 3 things you can do to grow your business right now. Number 1, I love what he said about 3 concentric circles of marketing investment. At the very middle, you invest in your people. Give them the tools and the empowerment they need to promote your brand. Next, moving outwards, own your own turf. This means your branded terms, your local zip. Get on those review sites like Yelp and Google Business and your Best Company profile. Build out your reviews on each and own this territory. And finally, then look at your third-party lead acquisition. Don't neglect any of these areas and strive for a balance between all 3. Number 2, let's talk about your CAC. Brands that are humming and lowering their CAC are iterating daily or even hourly. Instead of meeting every couple of weeks or every month to see what they can tweak, they're testing and making changes rapidly. This is key. Third, I love what he said about building continuity between your sales and your marketing. I see this all the time with all the blame shifting and the finger pointing. So start holding meetings together where you can rub shoulders and start learning each other's lingo and even sharing KPIs. At least one KPI. Let's share that so that everyone's pointed in the same direction. The finger pointing will stop and everyone will now be rowing more in sync. It's a terrible boy band, but a really great concept here. I love this guy, and I hope you found these insights helpful. We'll see you next time.
We know you're busy, so from us at Best Company, thank you for listening to the Word of Mouth Marketing Podcast. Want to leverage more concrete strategies, real-life examples, and practical tools? Then hit that subscribe button for growth done right.